you want your life to be blessed, then blessings to him you must send.
If you want your life to be blessed, then blessings to him you must send.
When you hear his name mentioned, salawatullahi alayhi, salawatullahi alayhi, salawatullahi alayhi.
The Prophet, peace be upon him, peace and blessings be upon him. Let us all say together, salawatullahi alayhi. The Prophet, peace be upon him, peace and blessings be upon him. Let us all say together, salawatullahi alayhi. النبي صلوا عليه صلوات الله عليه. كلكم قولوا سوا صلوات الله عليه.
النبي يا سامعين اعلموا علم اليقين.
النبي يا سامعين اعلموا علم اليقين.
أن رب العالمين أوجب الصلاة عليه، أوجب الصلاة عليه، أوجب الصلاة عليه.
The Prophet, peace be upon him, peace and blessings be upon him. Let us all say together, salawatullahi alayhi. The Prophet, peace be upon him, peace and blessings be upon him. Let us all say together, salawatullahi alayhi. النبي صلوا عليه صلوات الله عليه. كلكم قولوا سوا صلوات الله عليه.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, dear listeners. We're back once again this year with Cafe Nisa for you, talking about women's issues. Just very quickly before we begin, the studio number is 0333 444 0940. Please call in and talk to us. Let us know you're listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask us. We're also live on Facebook, YouTube, Mixler, and TuneIn. So I hope you guys can catch us there as well. So to kickstart our show today, this is our very first Cafe Nisa show for 2019. We'll be talking a little bit about what is our narrative as British Muslim women in the second half of the show. But first off, I'd like to introduce our guest, Ikra.
Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for having me at your show.
That's okay. Ikra, do you want to introduce yourself very quickly?
Yes. So my name is Ikra. I am actually a lawyer by profession, but I moved from Pakistan to London 3 years ago, and currently I am doing social media work full time. I'm an influencer. I do YouTube, Instagram. So I do beauty, fashion, and makeup, but everything in light of motivational speaking.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Actually, the reason I called you down today is mainly to talk about your marriage. Do you know what? Sometimes I hate talking about this topic because I feel like girls, especially our age, in their like 20s, mid-20s, late 20s, whatever it may be, that's like the one thing we try and avoid the most.
I know.
But because of popular demand, I thought, let's talk about it. And also because you're not married to a Pakistani.
No, I'm not.
Which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So let's go back to your childhood first of all. You weren't born here. You were born in Pakistan, right?
I was born in Pakistan.
Okay.
Yes.
Whereabouts in Pakistan?
So I was actually born in Karachi, but when I was only 9 months old, I moved to Islamabad.
Oh wow.
Yeah. My dad's a Pathan and my mom's a Punjabi, and back in those days, this kind of a marriage was also like a big thing, you know?
Yeah, especially back in the day, yeah.
Exactly.
Such a taboo topic.
Yeah, but I grew up in Islamabad.
Achha,
So yeah, that's it.
wow,
Yeah.
okay. So it's not like completely like out of the ordinary for your family, I
Not
guess,
at all.
for this to happen.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Do you know what? I really want to know how you and your husband met. 'Cause, okay, for our listeners, because they have no idea what we're talking about right now, do you want to tell us a little bit about your husband first of all?
Definitely. So my husband is half Transylvanian and half Hungarian. He's a convert. He converted to Islam in 2016 February.
Oh, wow,
and when I met him through a friend. I met him through a friend, and I've got this Christian friend called Christiana, and she told me that she has a friend who is actually looking into Islam. And she was like, I really want you to meet him, and you guys will really get along, and I want him to meet like a nice Muslim girl.
I know
or
why
a
she
nice
picked
Muslim.
you though, because
Yeah.
you're like, you have, like I said to you before, you have such a bubbly personality.
Oh, thank you.
Because like I said, this entire week, obviously it's Ramadan, and Ramadan's such a beautiful, beautiful month. But I got to be honest here, I've only been getting like 2 hours sleep every day this
Oh
week.
my God.
So I was exhausted, but when I knew, I'm like, I've got you as my first guest, because you have such a beautiful, sweet, bubbly personality.
so much. You're
It's like
so
if you're
sweet
tired,
yourself.
you'll just like wake me up. So yeah, no, I totally get why your friend was like, let me introduce
Yeah.
you to Ikra first off.
Absolutely. So that's how we got introduced to each other. Initially, I had absolutely no plans of marrying a Gora, let's be honest. And, because I lived all my life in Pakistan, it's still different for people who are actually born and bred in UK or, like, let's say US
Yeah.
or other countries than Pakistan. But if you're, like, born and bred in Pakistan, it's really difficult for you to, like,
Yeah.
marry outside
It's
your
like,
race or your culture. How did you
how
do
did
that?
you meet a
I know.
Gora,
And
Ikra?
we were actually really good friends before we thought that we can be good
Oh,
life
wow.
companions. And I mean, he was exploring religion at that time. Me and my husband really connect spiritually with each other.
Oh wow, mashallah.
I know, and it's really strange
so
because when I
sweet.
tell to other people, they only think that he converted because of me.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought as well. I literally, up until this moment, I was going to ask you. So he actually reverted to Islam, and then you guys met.
Way before. We got married in April 2018, and he converted in February 2016.
Wow.
And the guy has been praying, offering prayers, and he's been fasting from 2014.
Wow.
Since
no
2014,
way. Okay.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So that's how we met, and we got along, and I got to know him for good 2 years, because I was always that kind of girl who was like, I really want to be sure what I'm doing in my life, and I've always wanted to be sure what step I'm going to take in my life. And it was like good 2 years. I got to know him, and I had some friends and family meet him as well. And then I finally told my parents.
How did that go down?
Okay, so with my mother, it was really funny because she's the first person I talked to.
Okay.
And I just went up to her and I was like, I want to talk to you about something. And she looked at me and she was like, is that a boy?
She knew straight
knew
away.
it.
See,
And
mothers
I-
always
They
know
always know it.
everything.
Exactly.
How?
And you can't get away with it. Sorry. And then she was like, I was like, yeah, how do you know? And then she was like, okay, tell me about him. And I told her everything. And then she was like, she got really happy. She got really happy about the fact that, he's a convert and we'll be
Yeah.
that family, who'll introduce him to Islam. And, that
Aw,
excitement.
yeah.
She got really happy. She was really proud of me when I told her that. But then she was like, oh, I need to talk to your dad because, he might have his own reservations. And then I remember next day, she broke the news to my dad, and my dad was a little shocked because I think he wasn't really expecting that. And he just asked me, he was like, just tell me, because I trust you, just tell me what is in that guy that you chose him for yourself, because there were
okay.
these rishta scenarios going on for me,
Oh, yeah.
all these proposals and everything. You know how things work for us
I know.
Pakistanis. So and I was constantly saying no to a lot of people. So he was like, what's so special in this guy? And I just told my dad, I was like, well, he doesn't own a Ferrari, or he's not the richest or the most good looking man on planet Earth, but I feel like I connect with him spiritually, as well as I feel like he's my best friend. Like I can talk to him about anything and he's there to guide me or just to be with me. And I think it's really important for us women to be with a man who is like our best friend,
Yeah,
who just gets
exactly,
us,
yeah, no.
where I don't have to be like, oh, he's my husband, I have to hide this thing from him, or I can't tell this thing to him, and all of that. And my dad just listened to that and he was like, okay. He was quiet for like 2 months.
Wow.
We didn't talk
Okay.
about it at all.
Really?
Nothing happened. And then after 2 months, I remember I was really sad because I thought it's not going to happen. And I didn't want to disappoint my parents, and I didn't want to take any step that disappointed them.
Yeah,
you know?
no, of course, yeah.
I remember he just walked in my room one day and he was like, I was cleaning my cupboard, and he was like, can you just come here and sit on the bed? And I was like, yeah. And then he was like, so when do you want to get married?
Really? Like
And I was
out of the blue.
Out of the blue. He was like, when do you want to get married? And I don't know what happened to me. I became that shameless daughter. And I was like, so we've got this Easter break coming in April. How about that? And he was like, really? Okay, call him, talk to him. And, tell him to start his visa process. And we
Oh,
called
God.
everyone. And then, yeah, that's how.
See, I don't get why it's so awkward for us girls to talk about marriage, even to our parents, and especially to our fathers. Like,
Yeah.
why is it? Although for me, I feel like everyone has that one parent who, if you do end up finding someone yourself and then you want to let your parents know, everyone has that one parent they'll go to first.
Exactly.
And it's usually the mom. Whether you're a boy or you're a girl, it's usually the mom.
I think for my sisters, it was difficult. When they had this talk, they went to my dad, not my mom.
Yeah, I would have gone to my dad, but I guess it's just a relationship you have with
I
your
think it would be
parent.
different if the guy was Pakistani. I think I would still go to my dad first.
Really? Oh,
But because he was a convert and everything, and I know my mom always had this soft corner for converts, and because she's like, they have left their religion
Yeah,
and
no,
everything,
yeah.
and a lot of people from us, they don't welcome them.
Yeah, that's
You
so
know?
true. Yeah, no, that's
And
true.
it's like 1 year that I've been married to him, and I still get the most disturbing and disappointing questions by my own people.
Oh, no.
Oh, why didn't he change his name? Oh my God, he converted for you. Oh, is he fasting or not? Like, why is it your business?
I think it's just okay. For lack of a better term, ignorance. We just need to
That's the right
educate
word.
ourselves. It's just like how other people non-Muslims need to educate themselves about Muslims.
Absolutely.
We need to go that extra mile and educate ourselves about reverts because they go through so much that
So
we
much.
don't realize. You wouldn't
Absolutely.
realize unless you've talked to a revert. They literally go through so much. And the other thing I think why your mum was so proud is because they chose Islam. We were born into it. We were
Exactly.
lucky enough to be born into it, but they chose it, and that's hard. Like everyone struggles.
That's very hard.
With religion. Everyone struggles with spirituality, and if you're a Muslim, you've got your own. The word jihad. You've got your own struggles and everything, and learning about all the religions in the world, and then going and educating yourself about Islam and choosing that as a lifestyle and choosing that is just incredible. It's like a lot more than I feel like we could do because we were born into it. We're lucky enough to be born into it.
Absolutely. That's exactly what my mom says. She's like, you guys are lucky because you were born in Muslim
Yeah.
families. But those are the real heroes who have like studied this religion and then
Exactly.
decided to like come into this religion, So,
Yeah.
that's...
You were talking about your sisters. Are your sisters older than you or younger than you?
I'm the youngest one in the family.
Really? Oh, you're
Yeah.
the baby.
I'm the baby of the family.
Oh my God. That's different. I'm the oldest, I
Oh.
feel like it's like two different worlds you've got.
Absolutely.
Would you choose, out of curiosity, would you choose not to be the youngest?
Not at all.
Really? You
I
love being the
love
youngest?
the young life.
Really?
I love the baby life.
I feel like I wouldn't choose not to be the oldest. Sometimes I feel bad for my younger siblings because let's face it, like they get a bit of stick, don't they? If you're the younger one, you get a bit of stick, whereas the older one, you sometimes can get away with stuff, especially
Yeah.
with the firstborn.
With the first one, yes.
Yeah, you
yes.
get away.
But I was born like really late.
Oh, okay. Oh, is there a gap between?
There's
you
a
and your
huge gap.
siblings?
So
Oh, okay.
my brother is 15 years older than me.
Oh, wow.
And then it's my other sister. She's 9 years older than me. And the other one is 8 years older than me.
Oh, okay. So you
And
really
then it's me.
are the baby.
So I'm the baby of the house.
Largely garki.
Yeah. So even my sisters and my siblings and everybody, they treat me like their own child
Oh,
rather than a
mashallah.
sibling. So that's how
Oh,
it's
that's
like.
so sweet. And so how did you guys get married in Pakistan?
We
or
got
did you
married
get
in Pakistan
And then did
because
you
I
have-
wanted to get married in Pakistan.
Yeah.
And that was the best
You
way.
must have had a lot of fun. 'cause
Yes, we did.
Pakistani weddings are a lot of fun.
Yes,
though,
they
aren't
are.
really
And he flew all the way from here to Pakistan for
Oh,
the first
wow.
time. It was actually his first time in Asia.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And that was
Okay.
for his wedding. His mom had to come for the wedding, but because of some passport issues she was having with her workplace, she couldn't make it.
Oh no, that's so sad.
Yeah, we're still thinking of like having the kind of white wedding for his family.
Oh, yeah.
Probably this year, but let's see how things pan out.
Mm-hmm.
So he was the
Inshallah.
only one who flew all the way
Oh no!
from
wait,
London to Pakistan.
His friends or like any
Nobody
other-
nobody
Really?
came
No
because they were like,
way.
oh my god, 3,000 pound for, and you know how I'm not like putting down any race or anything, but you know us Desis, we're like too much into weddings and
Yeah,
all of that.
it has
I
to
think
be a
white
big
people
shebang.
are more like, okay, whatever. If it's close to our place, we'll just come, you know. Otherwise, nobody made that. He doesn't have any siblings.
Oh, okay.
And other than, he doesn't have a dad as well.
Oh no!
Yeah, so he only has his mom and him. And she couldn't make it because of the passport issue. And then he has
Oh,
cousins and best
no.
friends, and they were like, "Oh my God, we're not paying like 3,000 pound for your wedding just to go for like 8 days and all." So we didn't want to pressurize anybody, and I was like, "However it is, whosoever wants to come, they're welcome. And if anybody can't make it, that's also fine, you know, because this is the point." I don't know if you know or not, but I didn't have my Pakistani wedding on a Pakistani wedding standard. It was really small. I called less than 100 guests.
Oh, okay, wow.
So I think there were only like 70 people on my wedding. I didn't have like the whole huge functions, 3 days and 4 days, not at all. I didn't want to waste all that money.
Okay, wait, you sound like a chilled out bride, and now that makes sense. Now I know why you were
Yeah.
a chilled out bride. It's just extra pressure and stress though, isn't it?
It is. It
And-
is.
And to be honest, like a smaller wedding is more like if you go religion versus culture, a big wedding is culture
Yes.
pressuring you to do it.
Absolutely. And you know, like, I always saw these weddings around me, and I used to come back home and I used to tell my mother, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to marry like this. And she used to tell me, she's like, you're never going to find anybody if you have these kinds of
Oh,
demands.
no.
And I was like,
We've all
no,
been
but
there.
I really don't want a wedding like that, because there are like thousands of guests at your wedding. They're there.
You don't even know.
You don't even know them.
everyone.
No, they're not even there to give you their blessings. They're sitting there talking bad things about the food, how bad the food is, how bad the bride looks,
Standard.
how bad the groom looks. There's this gossip and everything. They come, they eat the food that you give them, and then they leave, you know, without even giving you their blessings. So, I mean, I wanted on my wedding only those people to attend it who by truly at heart were happy for
Oh,
me,
mashallah.
and I knew they're going to be happy for me and my husband, and they're going to give their blessings, and that's it. And then this whole thing of like, oh, this is how the dress should look like and everything, it's just one day of your life, honestly. I was more focused on the life after my wedding
Yeah,
day,
no, of course, yeah.
not that particular day. And there was it's still the talk of the town. Oh my God, you know, they're so rich people, but you know, they didn't,
yeah, I
Ikra
get it,
didn't
yeah.
get a dress from Ilan, and you know, the wedding wasn't big, and this happened, and maybe this happened, this is why they didn't do it, and maybe this happened, this is why they didn't do it. But I'm so glad that my parents were really supportive, and they were like, it's your wedding. Don't ask us to do anything that's un-Islamic.
Oh yeah.
But apart from that, you want to break stereotypes, you want to leave the whole cultural stress that you have on you, just do whatever you think is right.
Wow, that's incredible though. Especially because you were born in Karachi, and then you know the major cities of Pakistan.
Exactly, and my dad
So I
has
feel
a
like-
huge social circle.
Wow.
Like, because he's a
So the pressure
businessman,
was
so he has like.
on.
I remember when my brother got married, there were like 3,000 guests on his
Wow.
wedding.
Jeez.
So you can imagine. And at my wedding, there weren't even 100 people. So it was only my close family, my very close friends, who are my real friends, you know, and all the people who work for my dad and for us, you know.
Oh, wow.
So people from my firm and from his office, and obviously the people who work at our place, their families were invited, because these are the people, you know, I deal with on day-to-day basis, and I know that these are the people who will always love me no matter what.
Oh,
So
that's
I-
so sweet though, mashallah.
Yeah, so this is how the whole wedding also took place, and I'm actually quite proud of it. I'm happy.
Yeah, I was gonna yes, because I was wondering when you first started talking, I was like, I wonder, like, do you have any regrets? Because let's face it, there's a pressure before you get married, and then obviously after you get married, people are going to talk Ikra. Like, it's inevitable.
do.
Even if you had a big wedding,
They
it's
still
inevitable.
will.
Someone was going to. You can never make everyone happy.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I feel like we focus on that way too much, especially in today's society, what with social media and everything, you know exactly what, or you think you know exactly what's happening in everyone's lives. Because let's face it, when we post on social media, we're posting like the
Best
parts.
version of ourselves.
No one's gonna post like, you know, oh my god, I'm so tired today, I'm having like a terrible day. No one's gonna post that day.
Absolutely.
You're not.
Yeah, and this has caused a lot of unrealistic expectations. I know people who were choosing their wedding dresses only because how it's going to look on Instagram.
Oh wow.
But that is
Yeah,
what it's
but
like.
that's a reality, isn't
That's
it?
a reality, and this is what's happening in back home. Like I don't want to be that person and be like, oh, you have the money, don't spend it. Like that's none of my business.
of
You have the
course,
money,
yeah.
you have the right to spend it the way you want to. But I also feel like that, you know, because I was a social media person, I had a lot of responsibility on my shoulder. You know, there are a lot of girls who look up to me, and you know, they'll send me messages and they'll be like, oh, we want to dress like you, or we want a wedding like you, and all of that. But I'm glad that anybody who comes from any kind of financial background in Pakistan can look at my wedding and be like, oh, this is achievable.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, wow.
you know, because there are people who are like who don't have all those financial means, and because of that societal pressure, they go to banks, they go to people, they take loans in order to get their daughters married.
Oh, no, that's
and that's terrible. Like, what kind of an example are we setting? So I mean, that was my whole point of view. And
Wow, that's really cool though, because okay, there's this human rights activist. I don't know if you know her, Asumi J
Yeah.
on Instagram. Asma, beautiful girl. She's a model as well, and she's a human rights activist. And she gets really upset when prominent people on social media don't use their platform for good. It really upsets her, and I think there's a lot of pressure on those people as well. There's a lot of pressure on those people from society, and if you're like, you know, if you're someone whose channel's all about, or your social media page is all about maybe beauty and makeup and stuff, and then you start posting about, oh, look what's happening in Syria and Gaza, you're going to lose all those followers. I understand that. So having that pressure and still doing what you did and what you wanted to do is an incredible achievement.
yeah, and I also I do agree with her, but I also disagree with. I know her, and I know where she's coming from, but I also feel like that social media is very huge now.
Yeah.
Do you get it? Everybody has got their own niche that they are working with. So some women are just doing makeup and fashion, and they're not doing anything other than that. So I don't really expect them to talk about these things all the time.
Yeah,
because that's not what they are there
as someone who follows their page, yeah.
Exactly. I'm just giving you an example. My sister is also a fashion blogger, but she is strictly a fashion blogger. She doesn't do anything else on her social media. She's actually doing a great job because that's her work. That's how she's earning money and everything. I know her personally. I know how she talks about things in real life. I know how she's making an impact when she's sitting with a group of friends or with other people. So I don't think social media is a place for everyone to just start talking about motivation and, you know, start talking about real issues. I respect everybody's work. I also feel like sometimes as social media people, we need to talk about certain things, and I think we all should. But apart from that, I don't blame girls who are like doing other
Yeah.
stuff on social media and not talking about real issues. As long as you're being truthful to your work, I think that's fair enough, no?
Yeah, that's definitely true. And like you said, some people use social media strictly only for business purposes.
Exactly.
And they keep maybe charity and things like that personal.
Very
to them.
personal. Very
So,
personal.
yeah,
So
no,
I
I
know a
totally
lot
get it
of
from that
people
side
who
as
are
well.
doing massive charity work. They don't talk about it. I do a lot of charity work as well in Pakistan because it comes from my parents, and like we are bound to do it by our parents. Like, you guys have to do
Yeah.
this and you guys have to do this.
Yeah.
And I never really talk about it on my social media because I'm not collecting funds, because whatever we are earning, we're using it in our charities.
Okay.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
So we are not like collecting funds and everything. So I don't have to put it out there on my social media like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. Because I feel like, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong in it, but personally, like if I talk about it subjectively, that's something really personal to me.
Oh, yeah.
You
You
know,
want to keep it to yourself.
I really want to
like-
keep it. And when, like, I remember I was just the other day, you know, I was buying food for this homeless guy, and my husband saw me in the car, like, what is she doing? And I came back and, you know, he was like, what are you doing? And I didn't want to talk about it because I just feel really, I don't know, I just go on another tangent. I get really sad talking
understand,
about
yeah.
it. And I'm
Aw.
like, oh my God, no,
Wow,
don't put me on
mashallah.
that pedestal. Allah Ta'ala, I was just a source.
Yeah.
Allah Ta'ala is doing it for the homeless person. I am not, I'm just a source.
Yeah.
So I don't want anybody to put me on that pedestal and be like, oh my God, look at her and blah, blah, blah. Not doing it for people to see.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
It's.
So-
I guess it's all about what your narrative is like especially on social media.
Yeah.
With Asma Asumi J, she's a human rights activist. So for her posting things like that,
It's complete.
it's within her narrative. Whereas someone who might be strictly, a beauty blogger or a fashion blogger using social media only for business purposes,
Yes.
that's their narrative. And I
Absolutely.
think there's enough pressure from your own community as well as social media and everything without having to add that pressure on each other as
Exactly.
girls as well. Like girl power, it doesn't exist
It doesn't
anymore.
exist.
I feel like
Absolutely.
Where's it all gone,
You're
and
so
no,
right.
do you know what? Because I've just started. I've just joined Al Minhaj Institute as well. So as a student of Islamic studies, and one thing that I remember my teacher, my dear Alama Sahab, saying is, there's two types. You have ibadat and muamalat. Ibadat is between is things between you and your God. And muamalat obviously are things between you and people, and that comes under Islamic law and everything. You've got
Yes.
family law, etc., etc. You could go on about that. And I guess for you, charity and things like that is something between you and God. It's an ibadah that you're doing. In a sense,
Absolutely.
isn't it? Yeah. And for people, there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with
Likewise with Asma, she's motivating and she's opening her eyes, because honestly, like, she's right about some things. You don't see some things on the news, on standard news. So her showing us opened up
Absolutely.
my eyes.
I think she's one of the reasons why I have probably swiped up that Instagram link and I've donated.
Exactly. Yeah.
So because that's her work, because
Yeah.
that's what she is doing. I mean, she's that person on social media. Honestly, this is not a black and white debate.
Exactly. It's not.
It's just not.
It's not.
And
It's
I think
about
we
everyone,
forget
yeah.
it. I see a lot of women who are just doing fashion and makeup, and they're like, oh my God, why are they making their blogs about their personal life, or why are they talking about these things? Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants that negativity on the social media. And I am somewhere in the middle. And I'm like, if you feel about something, talk about it. But at the same time, if it's your work and you're doing it for your work, you should be able to do that as well. I mean, we all need to basically just sit, calm down,
Girl power, Ikra.
and work on what we are doing.
Exactly. Yeah. No. That's
Focus on
definitely true.
ourselves, leave everybody alone for some time. Even my motivational speaking is very different. It's for, these are the kind of things that I talk about. It's like how we as women can empower each other, what kind of words we can use to make each other feel better about ourselves, and just the whole women relationship in today's world. And I think we just all need to stop and calm down and we all need to focus on our work and do the best of what we are doing.
And how does your husband feel about you being on social media?
He's actually very proud of me, except those days when I'm having a breakdown and I'm probably just crying to him about how things are not working well for me on social media. Then he'll be like, oh, just get off it. You don't need this in your life. Because let's be honest, being a social media influencer does get to you at times really badly. Sometimes I'll be crying, oh my God, my followers are not increasing, like a very petty thing. And then sometimes I'll just be sitting there and be like, when I come from certain events and everything, and I'm like, oh my God, this is such a superficial world, and I don't belong here, and no, this is not for me, what am I doing here, and all of that. So I get those days, when there's a lot of hate as well, when you get a lot of hate on social media.
Comments and stuff.
So,
I was gonna say, I think people from our generation might understand a little bit better than maybe someone from our parents' generation, but because I feel like there's this taboo, and it's a taboo topic, isn't it? And there's this like idea that being on social media isn't the best thing, but I don't think people realize how difficult it actually is for you
is.
guys being on social media and carrying on every single day. And I mean, like, we feel pressured by society and by our community, and we look at our friends and, you know, where they're heading in their lives, and we feel pressured. I can't imagine that on an even bigger scale. And I think we do need to like educate ourselves in that sense a little bit as well, like being on social media, how difficult it is.
It is. It's very difficult.
When you get like, I don't know, like, I hear people getting like, you know, hate comments, or you might get that one comment that brings you down so much. How do you stay so positive and confident?
I've always talked about it because people always ask me on my social media, oh, you're so positive and why don't you ever have bad days? And that's just a lie, you know, because I think previously, just a few months ago, I was actually even showing the most vulnerable side of myself on my social media. But then I realized there's so much. Just the other day I was thinking about it, and I was having this conversation with my husband, and I was like, I want to be real on my social media, but what does that reality means? I don't want to be real enough that I start impacting young girls in a negative way. Oh, if Ikra is doing this, then I can do it as well. And I feel like, and that's when I told him, I was like, if I have to conceal certain realities about my life and about myself and my social media, I'm ready to do so, because I don't want to make my platform that platform which provides a negative impact on younger generations, especially. You know, and then I told him, I was like, you know, when I'm having my bad days, you guys wouldn't even get to know, because I'm not coming out there crying on Insta stories and, you know, nagging about something and, you know, like going on a rant all the time. Like, that's not who I am, and that's not what my social media is for. If I want to go on a rant, I'll go on a rant with probably my husband or my sisters or my mother or my best friend, you know, but not on social media, because people come there for my positivity. They read my captions and they're like, oh my god, you made our day. So I don't want to be that person who they look up to and they're like, oh my god, she's vulnerable and so are we. So it's not that I am trying to be this fake person. You see, this side can come that, oh, you're not putting the reality, that means you're being fake. I get where you're coming from, but try to understand, I'm concealing the reality for the betterment of my followers.
Oh wow, yeah.
And these are the things that I'm learning now, slowly and gradually. I was doing certain things before, and I felt like, no, I should really stop doing this now, because I think it's not healthy for the people who are following me. So it's a constant struggle with ourselves, honestly. And I think as social media people, all I want to say is we need to constantly keep ourselves in check. Constantly.
Wow, yeah.
We're so much worried about what the other person is doing. Why didn't they talk about that? Why aren't they sharing that? Why aren't they doing that? But what are we doing? When are we going to keep ourselves in check? And that's all what I'm doing.
Wow.
Just keeping myself in check now.
Wow, I didn't realize. So you're like constantly having to think about where to draw the line. Like you said, like
Exactly.
you want to be real with your followers, but what is that reality? What can you show? Wow, that's hard though.
That is very
really,
hard.
really
That is very hard. And I think that is one of the reasons why I get my really down days and I really want to get off social media. But then I'm like, no, I have to do it for all the people who are showing me so much love and affection. I started this because for myself, but now I'm continuing it for other people.
Wow.
You know?
Okay.
So
So you just got to focus on the positives, because there's a lot more positives, aren't there?
Exactly.
negatives.
And you know, I'll be too entitled to just sit and talk about my petty issues of my daily life. You know?
Yeah.
Do you get my point? There are people who are dealing with really, really
much
big
more.
things in their life, and I just can't just go there and, you know, rant about another blogger, or this is the problem that I have with the company, or this is
It's to believe you.
yeah, do you get it?
I don't want to say it, but yeah, no. Like, you feel like it's petty.
It's
not,
petty.
It
It's
is.
petty.
Do you think do you think Dean helps you overcome that? Because one of the things that helped me and helps me every single day throughout my life with regards to confidence is the hadith about, if you feel, you shouldn't look at people that are in a better position than you should focus on the people that aren't, like Allah Mia says, look at the people that don't have as much as you, or that aren't in such a, you know, good position like you, because that's going to help you really, like, just let reality hit. Like, do you know what?
And be really
I'm not
fortunate
that
with what you
far
have.
off, yeah.
I live by this hadith actually because my mom told me once about this. It's like, what, 2-3 years ago. And I remember, I don't know, I was probably being petty in front of her about something. And this is what she told me. And these are the things I keep
hits
telling
you,
myself.
yeah.
I'm like, no, look at this, look at this. Definitely Deen helps me a lot in a lot of things. I mean, I get it when people look at me, they say, they see this diva, you know, who's all dressed up in not so modest manner and, you know, with tons of makeup on her face. But I know where my spirituality, and I'm not saying I'm the best Muslim out there. I'm still struggling with my deen, but there are a lot of things in my day-to-day life that I apply from Islam into my real life, and it really helps me.
It really, really helps.
It really helps
It really
me.
does help. But Iqra, perfection doesn't even exist.
It doesn't.
Humans, Allah didn't make humans perfect. I think we need to remind ourselves of that as well. God didn't make humans perfect. God made us with flaws. There was something I read on Instagram once actually, that God made humans with free will, and angels don't have free will. So angels are required to you know, obey the commands of God. So that's why you can say, that's why when you link perfection with angels, like, oh, you're an angel, you know.
Yeah.
People say that so easily, the words slip out of your mouth. But let's face it, in reality, perfection does not exist within humans.
And I feel like before, I think I have been in that place in my life where I've been extremely judgmental about people and their choices and how they're dressing up and how they're choosing to live their life and everything, until I grew older and I saw reality and real life and people and different cultures and everything. And you know, I just realized everybody's struggling in their own way.
Everyone really is.
And as Muslims, we should understand that more, and we should allow our fellow Muslims to, like, oh, you're struggling in that particular thing, I am struggling in this thing, okay, let's do it together. Rather than, oh, because I am doing this thing 100% correctly, you should also be doing it, otherwise you're not a good person.
Exactly.
And this debate is there in our community sadly all the time, and because I'm on social media, I get to face this a lot. I get to face this a lot, and I'm just like, fair enough.
Wow, mashallah. We're going to go on a very, very quick break. We'll be back, and when we're back, we'll talk about modesty and what modesty means for you, what it means for me, and sorry, dear listeners, please excuse me. Today I'm so tired. Like I said, this entire week I've only had like 2 hours sleep each night. I am functioning like a zombie right now, and I have no caffeine to help me out either. No, but seriously though, I love Ramadan, I love fasting, and it just brings you some peace inside, doesn't it?
It does.
Apart from that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so we'll go on a very, very quick break, and we'll be back. Stay tuned.
Medina, Medina to Nabi.
In my dreams I make my way to Medina, the home and chosen place of our beloved prophet, where all I feel is peace and so much joy around. No better place for me. Yeah, Medina, Medina, Medina to Nabi, Medina, Medina. That's where I wanna be. Medina, Medina, Medina to Nabi, Medina, Medina. That's where I wanna be. Oh, oh, Medina, Medina. Oh, oh, Medina, Medina. I wake with the morning light in Medina. Everywhere I see blue skies set above these mountains, bright colors fill the streets, a smile on every face, a special place for me. Yeah, Medina, Medina, Medina to Nabi, Medina, Medina. That's where I wanna be. Medina, Medina, Medina to Nabi, Medina, Medina. That's where I wanna be. Oh. It's where I wanna be. Oh, oh, Medina, Medina. Oh, oh, Medina, Medina. Oh, oh, Medina, Medina. Oh, oh, Medina, Medina. Medina, Medina. مدينة النبي. مدينة، مدينة، مدينة النبي.
مدينة 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 النبي. مدينة 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 النبي.
لو في يوم كان الحمل عليك تقيل وتايه لوحدك مش لاقي دليل، والهموم تخلي الليل طويل وترميك في غربة ومرارة وويل، مد ايديك تلقى دايما حواليك هو الله قبلك حاسس بيك. إن شاء الله، إن شاء الله، إن شاء الله حتلاقي الطريق. إن شاء الله، إن شاء الله، إن شاء الله حتلاقي الطريق. لو في يوم خدتنا معاصي أو ذنوب وخافت قلوبنا ما تقدر تتوب وتشكي الروح، ومين بالسر ليه نبوح، ومين اللي يقدر يداوي من الجروح. مد ايديك تلقى دايما حواليك هو الله قبلك حاسس بيك. إن شاء الله، إن شاء الله، إن شاء الله حتلاقي الطريق. إن شاء الله، إن شاء الله، إن شاء الله حتلاقي الطريق. قول يا الله ده عنك مش بعيد، ما تشيلش هم ولا تشعر بضيق. قول يا الله اهدي لي يا قلبي عشان اتوب، امحي الذنوب واهديني الطريق. نور لي الطريق، نور لي الطريق، نور لي الطريق. إن شاء الله، إن شاء الله، إن شاء الله حتلاقي الطريق. إن شاء الله، إن شاء الله، ضاقت عيناي شوقا ولطيبة ذرفت عشقا فأتيت إلى حبيبي فاهدأ يا قلب ورفقا صلي على محمد السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا حبيبي يا نبي الله السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا حبيبي يا نبي الله يا رسول الله قلب بالحق تعلق وبغار حراء تألق يبكي يسأل خالقه فأتاه الوحي فأشرق اقرأ اقرأ يا محمد السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا حبيبي يا نبي الله السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا حبيبي يا نبي الله يا رسول الله يا طيبة جئتك صبا لرسول الله محبا بالروضة سكنت روحي وجوار الهادي محمد يا طيبة جئتك صبا لرسول الله محبا بالروضة سكنت روحي وجوار الهادي محمد السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا حبيبي يا نبي الله السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا حبيبي يا نبي الله يا رسول الله अल्लाह ही अल्लाह किया करो दुगना किसी को दिया करो जो दुनिया का मालिक है नाम उसी का लिया करो अल्लाह ही अल्लाह अल्लाह ही अल्लाह अल्लाह ही अल्लाह किया करो दुगना किसी को दिया करो जो दुनिया का मालिक है नाम उसी का लिया करो अल्लाह ही अल्लाह अल्लाह ही अल्लाह Just like a sunrise can't be denied, no. Just like the river will find the sea. Oh Allah, you're here and you're always near. And I know without a doubt that you always hear my prayer. सच की राहों पे चला करो, दुख न किसी को दिया करो, जो दुनिया का मालिक है नाम उसी का लिया करो. अल्लाह ही अल्लाह, अल्लाह ही अल्लाह, अल्लाह ही अल्लाह किया करो, दुख न किसी को दिया करो, जो दुनिया का मालिक है नाम उसी का लिया करो. अल्लाह ही अल्लाह, अल्लाह ही अल्लाह. So many bright stars like diamonds in the sky. Oh, it makes me wonder how anyone can be blind to all the signs so clear. Just open your eyes and I know without a doubt you will surely see the light.
तेरी ही दुनिया तेरी ज़मीन, ये कहकशां है तू है करीम. मेरे मौला सुन ले दुआ, हम बेबस हैं तेरे बिना, रोशन कर जहां.
ऐसा जुल्म न किया करो, दुख न किसी को दिया करो, जो दुनिया का मालिक है नाम उसी का लिया करो. अल्लाह ही अल्लाह, अल्लाह ही अल्लाह, अल्लाह ही अल्लाह किया करो, दुख न किसी को दिया करो, जो दुनिया का मालिक है नाम उसी का लिया करो. अल्लाह ही अल्लाह, अल्लाह ही अल्लाह, अल्लाह ही अल्लाह किया करो, दुख न किसी को दिया करो, जो दुनिया का मालिक है नाम उसी का लिया करो. अल्लाह ही अल्लाह, अल्लाह ही अल्लाह, अल्लाह ही अल्लाह किया करो, दुख न किसी को दिया करो, जो दुनिया का. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم سلم نبيا ورسولا. غايتي رضاك والقلب في يقين يحيا على هداك. ذو الجلال في علاه ما لنا سواه، هو واهب الحياة فلنبتغي رضاه. القادر الحليم الغافر الرحيم، إن قال كن يكن سبحانه العظيم. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم سلم نبيا ورسولا.
Hello, assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to Cafe Nisa with my beautiful guest Ikra. And I've just been joined with another guest. Do you want to introduce yourself?
لا السلام عليكم I'm Tanha.
Tanha. What's your background? Because you're not Pakistani, are you?
I'm not. My parents are from Bangladesh.
So you're Bengal,
Yeah.
Still
Born here, Bangladeshi parents.
South Asian, and then
South
we've got
Asian.
two Pakistanis. I just completely lost track of my thought. Yeah, no, where were we? Before we carry on, once again, I'd just like to tell you guys our studio number is 0333 444 Please give us a call and talk to us, talk to Ikra, talk to Tanha if you have any questions. I'm sure a lot of you girls, if you're listening, for sure have questions about marriage. So please do call in, and now's your chance to ask Ikra whatever you want to ask her.
Of course.
Pick
Not
a
the
brain
best
bit.
marriage expert, but yeah, I'll try.
Wait, did you say how many years you've been married?
1 year only.
Oh,
1 year and a
She
few
just
months.
got married last year.
I got married last
okay.
year. Yeah.
Also, we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, and also on Mixler and TuneIn. Right, so before we went on a break, we were talking, I wanted to talk about modesty, Ikra, because you were saying, how, well, you said because some people obviously look at you and they think you're not dressed modestly, but obviously as a Muslim and as a, woman, you're going to try to dress modestly, obviously, like we all do. So I wanted to know what your idea of modesty is.
Okay, so I can I just start it from the start?
Yeah.
I was 17 when I started wearing headscarf. My only mother, she wears headscarf. Nobody in my family
Oh, wow.
wears a headscarf, and it was my personal choice because at that time, as a 17-year-old, I thought I'm praying 5 times a day and I'm fasting, and if I just add a head cover on my head, I've done everything, But I didn't realize I was still dressing up in certain way, which is not modest. enough, or even if I like it or not, or I'm sure there are a lot of girls who are going to agree with me or they're going to disagree with me. But as the modern feminist, I can't go on changing the definition of hijab in Islam. Let's be fair. So even if I'm not doing it properly, I cannot go and say, oh, this is what the Quran says. No, I can't change it according to my interpretation or how I want it to. So then I realized after a while, because I was still wearing skinny jeans and I was still wearing certain kind of dresses with my headscarf on, that I thought, well, probably I'm not doing justice by calling myself a hijabi. So I just stopped calling myself hijabi. And I still kept the headscarf on, and I was like, if I remove that word,
It's just
to
easier
describe
for,
me.
for you, yeah.
Exactly.
Because
Then-
it's again with your relationship with God. isn't it?
absolutely, and I do I like the way I dress up. I think it's modest for me. There are a lot of people, especially now in my in-laws and everybody, they're very inspired. They're like, oh my God, she
Wow,
doesn't
mashallah.
wear these kinds of dresses and she only wears this. So this is modest for me. When I go back in Pakistan, I would wear a baya. I would also wear a chadar, depending on the
Wow.
place where I'm going to and everything. So I know the whole concept of modesty. If I just put Islam aside, the concept of modesty is very different for me. I do not like it when I am sexualized by the opposite gender. So I try to dress in a way that's modest enough to
Yeah,
get it.
yeah.
And just generally, I like modest clothes. I like long, loose, oversized clothes. Just generally, I think it's, and I really like girls who do proper hijab and everything,
Yeah,
with a baya and everything. I think, just look at you two. You guys look very pretty. I really respect that and everything. But I think, modesty is quite different for me. And then I feel like when I'm on my social media, I really need to watch out what I'm saying, the words that are coming out of my mouth. So I've seen a lot of women who are sitting there talking about the hair coming out of hijab, but they're using those kinds of foul language on their own social media that they shouldn't be using. So I feel like those are the things that I really take care of, because I'm like, okay, I've got this younger audience looking at me. If I use this language in front of them, they'll be like, it's normal to do so because she is doing that, so can we, So these are the things I really take care of on my social media,
Well,
just
so-
generally.
So for you, modesty isn't just physical; it's also what you say and how you portray yourself as well. on social media.
Exactly.
That's cool.
And just in real life as well. Just normally how I interact with other people and people of the same sex or the different opposite gender. I think it applies to everyone and in every situation. You have to be modest in your words and in your actions
Yeah,
and
for sure.
in your thoughts and everything. So yeah,
I think Ramadan really helps me realize how modest I'm being with my words. Because when you're fasting and you're constantly getting told by your parents
don't use that word.
Yeah. No, you're constantly being told by your parents you know, if you're not gonna pray, then what's the point of you just not eating? That's not
Absolutely.
the definition of rosa. You know, what does it mean to be fasting? What are you fasting from? Saying you're fasting from not eating and not drinking is like, you know, a very, very small part of it, a very small aspect of it. And I think that's what I don't know if you've seen someone on social media, I can't remember who it was, but I've seen quite a few posts of his where he's saying, do you know why everyone's so happy in Ramadan? It's because we're doing what we were like made to do. And it's so true.
It
I'll
is.
show you. Tanha, you look confused. I'll show you after. For sure, you're going to love it.
No, I
But-
was trying to analyze what we are meant to do, like eat less and live more. Because
Oh,
I
yeah.
think food takes over a lot of
Yeah,
our
it
social
really does.
lives. A lot of what we do, going out means going to eat.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not going out.
Yeah, going out for us, let's face it, means what restaurant are we going to in
Yeah,
central London today? That's literally it. Like, you know, that's going out for us. That's a day for us. But Tanha, what's your idea of beauty?
Of
Not beauty,
modesty?
sorry, modesty.
of modesty.
Asking me about
No,
modesty.
do you know what? Do you know what? Because my next question after this was gonna be,
I was blank when it comes to beauty.
no, because I was gonna say, because you're not wearing makeup. I'm not
No.
wearing
Yeah,
makeup.
this is what it's
I
so
know.
funny.
My next question was gonna be: do you think you can wear makeup and still be modest? I was gonna
Uh-huh.
ask you that, but no. First, what's your
Well,
idea?
that's
of
an interesting
modesty?
question anyway. We can come to that later.
Yeah, we will come to
We'll-
that.
we'll
Yeah,
come
yeah.
to
Very
that after.
interesting.
Interesting responses to that too. When it comes to modesty, I think for me, just like your journey, my journey was a bit different. I think for a long time, even from a young age, no one in my family wore a headscarf or was very. They were culturally dressed, but not modestly dressed. Like shul kameez,
wow.
my mum would
Makes sense.
wear her shirts and her pants to work. Like it wasn't. We were a lot more cultural than we were Islamically. And I think for me, I wanted to wear the headscarf for a really long time,
wow.
but I wasn't surrounded by it. And even in school, and I was surrounded by a lot of people that weren't Muslim.
Oh,
And I
okay.
think it took a while for me to be comfortable in myself and to decide for myself. And I think you said you were 17.
I was 17.
I think I was probably the same age. And it was only when I started to have Muslim friends that I was like, wait, I can do this too. And I think I just needed that support because when
Wow.
you don't have that support, it's a lot harder. Yeah. And same with my mom, she was really like taken aback as well because it made her think, okay, my daughter's wearing a headscarf, but I'm not. What's going on
Wow.
here? And I think it made her sort of realize what she was doing as well. Like automatically, she started dressing a lot more modestly.
Wow, mashallah.
Yeah, so it was
Wow,
a strange
mashallah.
shift.
Wow, that's so cool,
Yeah.
Tanha. That you inspired your mom to wear it.
That's a very big thing. Mashallah.
Can you see how proud me and Ikra are
I
of
am.
you?
I am, honestly.
No, honestly,
Yes.
yeah, mashallah, it's such a cool thing. It's
It
hard,
was also
like,
scary though, because you know when you're not surrounded by it, you think like, whoa, this is a big deal.
yeah,
And when you don't come from a family that's very practicing, you instantly get labelled as the religious one.
the
Yeah.
religious one.
And anything you do, you're being too much, Tanwa. Like seriously, calm down. You know, so anything you do has that sort of notion of you're being too religious. But I don't like. I just hate the term. It's just a term that really goes
Yeah.
inside and like squeezes the inside.
Yeah,
True.
religious. Yeah, calling someone religious is like
And what does that mean?
is hard. It's like quite a big thing.
Okay. Should I move this more like this?
No, keep straight. Speak right into it, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Clearly, you couldn't hear what the really important words that Tanha was saying, but
You speak around it more to yourself. That's it.
you gotta like keep it in your
Okay. Cool.
so they can.
Yeah.
No.
My face.
Okay, so I was gonna say, because I actually started wearing hijab from a very young age, but obviously you guys were teenagers. Very, very controversial, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. Have you ever, since putting the hijab on, felt like wanting to take it off?
I have.
Same.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm still struggling with it a lot. And it has nothing to do with anything. I think just myself. And okay, so because I came from Pakistan, every time I leave my house, I want to be covered in a certain way because of the kind of looks and the kind of
Yeah, you get-
catcalling is there. And, you know, like every time you walk out of, I hate saying that about my own country, but this is a fact. Every time you walk out of
Same
your house, exactly, you're going to hear a nasty comment about your body or about your looks. So I think there, with the whole hijab and everything, I was really comfortable doing that. There was a long time I used to wear, just when every time I used to leave my house, I only used to wear a baya.
Oh, wow.
And then I think moving from Pakistan to London, and especially because I've got a lot of friends who are not Muslim, and, you know,
And your husband's
and my husband's side, his whole family is not Muslim and everything. But when I actually go and, you know, sit and hang out with those people, I don't really feel the need of like covering myself like top to bottom in that rigid way. Do you get it? Again, I am not sitting here denying what is ordered to us by Allah Ta'ala. That's the truth. So if I'm struggling with it, that doesn't mean it's going to change the truth. Well, the order of hijab and everything, it implies to every woman, every Muslim woman. But personally, yes, I have been struggling with it a lot. And I feel like here, where I live, you know, I can just go out in a normal jeans and a t-shirt, go groceries, and nobody is even going to look at me in a sexual manner, in a manner where I'll feel like, oh my God, you know, I got that look. But then every time, still, even now when I go back Pakistan, all I wear is like loose shalwar kameez with a chadar. So it's a constant...
Oh, wow. Do you know what? I'm actually surprised to hear that you... Because I was going to ask you, did you find it harder to wear hijab in Pakistan or here? Clearly it's here. But I'm surprised to hear that, because in Pakistan, although clothing-wise, you'd feel more comfortable in shalwar kameez. But I don't know if that's just my family, but they're not that into
hijab there.
Scarf like this. It will be like
But
very
everything else is
loose.
modest, and I think
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is more important than this.
True.
Honestly.
True.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah.
That's true. And then I think there's another thing, you know, I think social media has impacted me a lot to make me think,
yeah.
what am I doing? So there's this side, take it or leave it. And then I'm like, why do you have to look at why do you have to look at a head cover and just associate it with 100% modesty? Like, don't.
Yeah.
It's a part of black culture. It's a part of Hindu culture. It's a part of South Asian culture.
Catholic.
It's not only just part of a religion, it's also part of culture. And I have, because I started doing it when I was 17, I am somehow very comfortable in the way I dress. So even if I'm showing a bit of my hair and everything, and I know I'm not doing it correctly, but I'm really comfortable in the way I dress. But then that debate that constantly people try to have with you, oh, do it properly or just
either
take it
just
off.
don't. Yeah,
And
no.
I am somewhere in the middle where I don't want to abandon it completely, and I'm really struggling of wearing it like properly as well. And then every single day I'm praying to God, I'm like, please end this struggle and, you know, help me find my way and everything. But yes, this is an ongoing struggle for me, and I do understand the girls around me as well if they are like...
But you've felt the struggle, but you still kept it on.
I've kept it on because I feel really comfortable with the way I dress. I am really comfortable, you know.
Love
Yeah, I feel really comfortable.
It just radiates out as well.
I told you,
honestly
she
does.
just mashallah, she
Mashallah.
radiates like
Yeah, so it's just
Confidence.
that I'm like, if I am comfortable with it, then why not?
exactly.
You know? And I never go into that debate. Oh, I am doing it correctly. Your interpretation of hijab is wrong.
Especially on social media.
I
No,
don't.
I disagree
so
with that
Because
so
we
much.
shouldn't, you know, because clearly our interpretations are
Anybody
wrong.
to judge.
Exactly.
Who are these people that are telling you that? Do you know what I mean?
But it is a sad reality.
It is, yeah. No, do you know what? I'm not sure if you two know, but my dad was a Hafiz Sahib and a Qari Sahib, and he spent his life's work was dedicated to Islam and teaching Islam and promoting Islam. And usually when you tell people, like, you know, oh, my dad's like a Qari Sahib, a Hafiz Sahib, they automatically get this idea that, oh, he must have been very strict. But it's the complete opposite. Like, my dad, and I know a lot of people that have met him can say that, and in fact they did, because when I joined secondary school, I got bombarded with a whole load of students that came up to me and said, oh my God, your thing's daughter, aren't you? Oh my God, I wish your dad was our dad. I wish he was the one doing our tests. Because he made people feel at ease. And one thing he always said to me that I remember like growing up, he always said you never ever tell someone that they're not practicing Islam correctly, or they're not practicing Islam, you know, to the correct extent either, because you're just gonna pull them back away from Islam. And do you want to be responsible for that? Like on the day of judgment, do you want to be responsible for that? It's like if I say to you, Ikra, you know, oh my God, the way you've got hijab on is not the correct way, and then you go and take it off tomorrow, God's gonna ask me about that, right?
Because of your words.
Yeah, we forget things like that, and you're halfway there. Who knows if I make you feel comfortable in the next year or two, or 5 or 10 years, or whatever it may be, that girl might end up wearing hijab fully, might even end up wearing abaya. You don't know. Everyone's on their own journey.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we have to remember that everyone's got their own. That's the definition of jihad. That's jihad, Ikra, like the struggle to better yourself, you know, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we need to constantly remind ourselves that, because we used to, when we were younger, you used to hear people say that when you were younger, and then social media came.
And on social media, everybody has got their own verdict and their own definition about what they think hijab is, and how really, and this is exactly what we were talking about previously. Like, we really need to watch out as social influencers. What are we putting out there?
Yeah.
So there are two extremes.
There's two extremes. Yeah.
Where are the people who are like in the middle, or who are like, you know,
which is everyone. When you think
exactly
about it,
exactly,
everybody is on that middle ground.
Well, I don't want to
like
go on that
struggling.
debate, but then I'm like, you know, even the girls who are like, as you said, makeup and his modesty and everything. Well, technically, Islamically, not really, you know, because we are at the end of the day putting makeup to look more attractive and beautiful, and then we are making certain heads turn around. So is that modest enough? Again, that's a question. You know, it's very debatable. You know. But
everything is in that grey zone. We forget.
Exactly.
Like, nothing is black and white. It's
nothing
like,
is black and white.
You know, my Islamic studies teacher, I'm sure he does not realize this at all. I hope he's not listening, but
I hope he is.
In my mind, like, because of his level of knowledge and level of piety, in my mind, I've put him on a pedestal, you know, because I respect him so much. I have so much respect and love for him. Everything that he does, not just the fact that he is teaching me about Islam and helping me become a better person, everything he does and everything he is as a person. But one of the things I pick up from him during our lessons is he thinks he's in the same, you know how we think like, oh my God, you know, I'm struggling with this and I'm struggling with that, and you know, I'm not at the level of being a good Muslim. I feel like people that are even at that level feel like that, and it's because they understand God didn't make us perfect. God made us, like, it's inevitable that you're going to make mistakes. Think about it. How can you go your whole entire life having lived a perfect life? You're going to make mistakes, and people are going to point it out to you, which is obviously the harsh reality. And I guess you've just got to remind yourself to be positive and hang around with people like Ikra, so they can like make you positive and, like, you know, keep that confidence going. No, but seriously, having like I only realize this now that I've grown up a bit more. Having really good friends that don't lead you towards the wrong path. They might not necessarily help you be, you know, the best Muslim or whatever, you know. But, you know, having really good friends that will pray for you when you don't even know, and you're praying for them.
Those are the good ones.
That's a blessing from Allah. Like, I hope my best friends are listening, you know. So proper, like, you know, honestly, literally, sometimes I sit on the prayer mat and I'm like, I'm lucky I have best friends like that. It's a blessing. You need people like that in your life, and you need to recognize those people in your life and focus on them. You know what, I only realized this recently, which is sad, but I guess you learn as you go, don't you? You do not focus. It's easier said than done for sure, but you don't need to focus on the people that are gonna bring you down. Like, you know, it's so hard. But Tanha, did you ever feel like taking the hijab off? Have you ever felt like it?
I think, I don't know if it's about taking it off, but I've definitely had days where I felt less beautiful. So I think before I had my headscarf on, my hair was my thing. Like, I had long, luscious hair, And every time you have a bad face day, you're like, no, but my hair looks good. You know. And then I would get spots on my forehead, so I'd like have my hair to the side. I was just like, oh my gosh, but my hair looks so nice. So I think it was just when you thought of Tana, you'd be like, oh, but she's got really good hair, like mashallah.
Mashallah.
But I think when I put it on, it's like because there was so much in me. It took so much for me to put it on that I don't think I would have, like it took me so much courage. I don't think I'd be able to reverse that.
Oh,
it was
okay.
a lot for me. But
Is
I
it you
think
almost feel like it? You almost feel like you failed if you're going to take it off after going through all
No,
that.
you know what? I think it's more just like I came up here. Like I was on like high iman levels. Like I can't even explain. Like
Wow,
I
mashallah.
fluctuate,
Really?
but I got to such a high that I was just like, nah, this is it, you know?
Yeah.
And I was surrounded by such great people at the time that I think it was just the time, you know? I can't reverse that. It'd just be too much for me.
Wow. Okay. Wow,
But I-
So
mashallah.
beautiful.
I definitely
That's so
think
beautiful.
it's
So beautiful.
no?
And you have no idea how much ajr you're going to get for this.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're so inspiring. Like maybe, probably, I'm gonna go home and I'll probably rethink it. You know, see, this is
It
the thing,
happens. Yeah,
right?
no, it
You're
does.
not sitting here bashing other people. You're just sharing your side of story, and
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here and I'm like, wow, mashallah, wow, Allah Ta'ala. There are people like that as well, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
And wow, so inspiring.
But also, I think in terms of bad hair days, we're alright, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But we
it was
have
quite
bad
liberating that
scarf days
Oh,
though.
don't
You
get
got
started.
bad hijab.
And there's a
Yeah.
lot more focus on the face.
Yes.
Like, there's a lot more focus. So, like, yeah. That's
Yeah.
something you just need to, like, accept this is your face, you know? So, you work with it.
Before you were saying like how people, you know, when you put the hijab on, people you became the religious one.
Yeah.
I think that's because people might say I'm so dumb for doing this, and maybe I am, but for like a few years, I think I almost forgot. But wearing the hijab is a symbol of you showing the world that you're
Yeah.
a Muslim, and the thing we forget is there's girls out there that do not wear the hijab, but they're practicing Muslims. You know, they pray 5 times.
Yeah.
They might pray. They probably pray a lot more than, you know, me. I wear the hijab and everything, but yeah, it doesn't mean just because they're not wearing, you know, they haven't got the symbol showing the world they're not a practicing Muslim.
You're right.
But I think because the whole point of hijab is that you're showing the world you're a Muslim, that's why you get that added pressure from people.
And
Yeah,
suddenly,
so
like,
they-
you're representing Islam.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
it's quite
yeah,
scary
you're
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's scary,
Like,
yeah.
you have to be aware of, even when I see, like, girls on the bus, they'll be, like, being rowdy or something, but they've got the headscarf on. It's your representation wherever you go just by how you look.
Exactly,
But
yeah.
also on the flip side, I also think it shouldn't just be about women
It's not
being a
just about-
representation.
yeah.
Like, I appreciate when a man looks Muslim too.
Yeah, no, for
But
sure.
you see, that's the point. Like when with the girls who wear hijab, we're like, oh, you're the ones who are out loud representing Islam. Then all these girls are just gonna go take off their hijab and be like, we'd rather be the other Muslims than this.
Yeah,
these kind of.
see?
You see, so this is very
It's-
like again the same debate. Like we just need to let all Muslims
Be.
Yeah.
be,
Everyone just
let them struggle, be there for them. I mean, we're all, let's be fair, 2019, I'm learning so much at this age. You know, sometimes I sit with my mother and I'm like, you know, I was listening to that Maulana's debate and this is what I heard, and she'd be like, oh, I didn't know that. And
Yeah.
she's 56 and she's like, you know, the social media and the exposure these days and everything is really helping you guys. So we
Yeah,
all
in a way it
Muslims,
helps.
until and
Yeah.
unless we're not actively making an effort of educating ourselves about Islam, we know our religion.
Exactly,
We know
yeah.
where we are going wrong and we know what we are doing right. These added pressures of, oh, you have a beard and you're representing the Muslim community. So the men who don't have a beard, they get away with it. Or the women with hijab are under a constant scrutiny, and the women who are not wearing hijab are not. And they are living more at peace than the women who are out loud representing Islam. And I think we are mostly targeted by our own people other than
Yeah, it's like from our own
From our
South
own-
Asian community.
from our own community. You know, I've had these debates with non-Muslims and everything, and they just want to sit there and ask me, oh, why do I wear this? And you know,
Yeah,
it's a
they're
very
just
healthy
curious.
debate. They're just curious. They want to know.
Yeah.
And you know, I'd have this conversation with him and with them, and they'll end up really respecting the religion or me, and they'll be like, oh, you know, we didn't have idea that this is what it was about and everything. But as soon as we go in our community, the bashing starts.
But I think living in a multicultural society, like I don't think we should get offended when anyone asks us a question,
Absolutely.
because
Yeah.
it's like on the one hand we're saying, oh, you're ignorant, you need to educate yourself about Islam, and then someone's going to come up to me and say, why do you wear hijab? Or like, because I used to work in central London and I was the only Muslim where I worked, literally. I was the only South Asian girl that
No
worked
way.
there.
Same.
Everyone, it was like Europeans, and I got to know them and I love them. They're like, you know, not as scary as you think it'd be. But on the one hand, like when they'd ask me, I was happy to tell them, and I realized, like you said, they all of a sudden have this respect for you.
Yeah.
And you know, but going towards a more like positive aspect, what you were saying about how wearing the hijab, you feel like you're representing Islam. It saved me from a lot of situations. You know,
Really?
like you were saying, like especially working in central London, and when you're, you know, with your colleagues or your friends and whatever, and you're like, you know, maybe you're like all hyper, you're laughing about something, you realize, look, okay, when I'm laughing, I can't laugh like this either. I've got to be a little bit more modest. It doesn't mean like, you know, you can't laugh or anything. It's just you behave a bit more modestly as well. Or like,
I think
You know,
that's
this-
again, it's like God consciousness constantly. 'Cause
Exactly,
it's like a
yeah.
reminder. It's not stopping you from being yourself. It's just reminding you that the bigger picture is there.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
Absolutely.
It reminds you of your roots, because we're born Muslim, aren't we? But yeah, no, it does protect us. And I think for a lot of young girls out there, there is a lot of pressure from society. There is a lot of pressure from our own communities. Even your friend groups, because I went to an all-girls school, I think maybe it was a bit more easier for me than you. And you know, it was like literally
Yeah,
loads
mixed
of.
schools. I wouldn't recommend it. I hated it.
Really?
I hated it. Yeah. When I went to a girls' school for sixth form, I was like, this is it.
It's
Do you know what I
easy.
mean?
It's
I
an easier
could
life.
I could just breathe. Honestly, boys are just mean.
They're off.
They just- and especially
And
when
especially
they-
in that age.
That age, I just needed my
It's not even
space.
it's not even that age. You know, now that I'm
always.
like, you know, now I'm like early 20s and whatever, and going towards mid 20s, late 20s, whatever. That thing you hear, like, women are from Venus and men are from Mars.
Really?
Never heard truer words, you guys. I do not. You know, you've never heard that?
Never.
You have never heard that?
Just
Oh,
shed some light.
men are from Mars and women are from Venus, like, you know, saying that men and women are so different, they're from different planets and stuff. I feel like I have never heard truer words. Please agree
But
with
that
me,
is
you
true,
guys.
you
No,
know.
I
It's
do.
That is true.
They think, because we do think differently and everything. And yeah, and you know how they say Allah Mia made women a little bit more soft-hearted, obviously, because my best friend says this, she says it's because you have to be a mother, and if your baby's crying all night and you don't have a heart, you might want to, like, you know, do something to your baby.
that is so
God
true,
had
though.
to do it. She says like God had to make you
That
soft
is
as a
so
woman,
true.
because then even when your baby's like crying the whole night, and you know, like nappy changes and all that graphic stuff, you
takes
know,
another level
you
of
still
stubborn.
love that baby.
Yeah.
And God made us like that, and the same way like God made men, you know, with stronger hearts, because they need to be like that. Like, there's a reason that we don't understand. My RE teacher in school actually once said, we can never even begin to understand God's plan, because we have small tiny human minds.
Absolutely.
Like, our minds are human, they're tiny, they're like, they can't even begin to understand, you know.
Absolutely.
And those words have stuck with me, like, literally throughout my life.
Wow.
Since hearing those, because it's true, and I remind myself of that so much.
Yeah.
That is true. That's very true.
But yeah, okay, going on to the whole beauty thing very quickly, because obviously you're wearing makeup.
Yeah.
I wear makeup, and Tanha, you have, mashallah, beautiful skin.
Yeah, and a beautiful smile.
You
She
don't
doesn't even
wear makeup. Now, I feel like if someone came into the room, especially someone maybe from our parents' generation, they might think we're a bit more confident than her, but I think you're a lot more confident.
Really?
I hate wearing makeup now.
Really?
I'm gonna be honest. Do you know what? Okay, I like makeup. You know, it's fun and everything. But honestly, it's so much effort.
And it feels like a pressure.
So much pressure and so much effort. Like, I'm tired. I could have like half an hour more sleep if I didn't wear makeup, you know. And I never stop thinking about it. But it's hard. Like, I constantly think about, you know, just going out without makeup, and I can't do it because it's so hard. And I always say it's because if I had good skin, if I have like good skin, and my skin, I've got discoloration now because of wearing makeup, because of clogging my pores with foundation and stuff. Before that, I had really nice skin. But I feel like sometimes us girls, we wear makeup not just to be, people might think we're doing it to be flamboyant or stand out or whatever. Sometimes girls do wear makeup just to cover up their skin. It's literally as simple as that. Although it is fun as well. It is. It's fun. And also, you know how we were talking about modesty and hijab and everything for women. Let's focus on men for a second. Because I'm sure in the Quran Pak it says men need to be modest and lower their gaze. So
And
how
then
do you even know I'm wearing makeup or you know what I'm wearing, or that I'm not wearing hijab, or that I've got my hair out? If you know, if you're being modest, how do you even know that? Do you get me? So what are your thoughts on that? Actually, I want to know.
On the men's side, I don't know. I just feel like it's a two-way street.
See, no one has anything to
but
say when it
honestly,
comes to men.
I do.
No,
This feminist from my heart is just gonna pop out right now.
go for it. Take the floor.
I just feel like, number one, these men shouldn't be the ones who should be telling us women how to dress. Seriously, this just ends here, you know? Like, I don't want to hear my neighbor to tell me how should I dress and, you know, all of that. And even in my family, you know, I come from a family where my dad actually never told me how to dress. It was always my mom. You know, she is the one who introduced the concept of modesty to me and all of that. But my dad was never bothered. And he was like, you know, do whatever makes you happy. He was always that kind. And I remember once my brother tried to, you know, pass a comment about my sister's dressing. And he was like, oh my God, how are you dressed? And my dad lost it at him. And he was like, that is not your business.
Whoa.
That is not your
Love
business.
your dad already, man.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, so obviously coming from a family, I've got zero tolerance to this. And then being married to someone who is like, he doesn't even know if I'm wearing makeup or not. I'll be just like, how does my eyeliner look today? And he'll be like, oh, does it look different from yesterday? I don't know, babe. You know? So, like, come on. Really, again, you are ordered in Quran to lower your gaze before we were ordered to cover ourselves. It's the ayat first that talks about a man's modesty. And then comes our part, you know? So do your part and shut your beautiful mouth and just
Let us do
our part.
Exactly.
You know, because this is the problem. Women are talking about women's modesty. Men are talking about women's modesty. Little children are talking about a woman's modesty. Who is talking about a man's modesty?
Exactly.
See, and I realized, because I noticed you were stumped, I was stumped, and it took, maybe you
Yeah.
weren't stumped, but it took you a while to get into it. It's because there's not a conversation about
Yeah.
men's modesty.
Yeah.
So it's harder to talk about. Although you have thoughts about it, and when you start thinking about it, you realize all these things. But just the society we live in, we focus on women a lot more than men.
Yeah. And I don't know when are we going to start talking about these things. Like, I don't know how many of you guys get uncomfortable. I really get uncomfortable when I see random men on Instagram shirtless. I do.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
follow such accounts and
No
everything.
way.
I'm not trying to put them down or everything, but then it's the aspect of modesty.
Yeah,
And just the sight of it, I'm always like, ugh,
Yeah.
what are you doing on my explore feed?
What are you trying to prove?
You know, so
what are you trying to attract?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
it's just the same thing, both sides, you know? And only the woman
Yeah.
part is being focused and everything,
Exactly,
you know?
yeah. Although I have to say, I do appreciate that men do have obviously insecurities, and they go through, you know,
We don't
stuff
think
like that
about
as well. Tanha, don't laugh. That's me. No, I'm joking. I know you don't mean any bad way. No, but like, you know, ever since social media has grown, people don't realize men go through issues like anorexia and stuff like that as well, and body dysmorphia and stuff like that. They really do. And it's like I was saying, men are from Mars and women are from Venus, right? How they're so different. I feel like it's men of this generation that are so different. Although we say like the South Asian communities really, like, you know, they'll come and bash you, I feel like one of the reasons they like that is because they're so strong. Like our parents' generation, I'm sure you two can agree, they're so strong. And especially I don't know about, obviously I can't speak for Bengalis out there, and I'm
there's
sure
a
it's
certain
the
fire
same.
in them.
Yeah,
that
but
we can't resonate with. Yeah.
I feel like Pakistani dads are so pro feminism. Till this day, I know they exist out there, but till this day, I've yet to meet someone's Pakistani father who is not supportive of their daughter or their wife. Would you not agree, Iqra?
Absolutely. My dad's like the biggest feminist.
Mashallah.
Honestly. And I remember, like, obviously I've seen him how he is as a husband and how he is like a dad, and I've always looked up to him, and I was like, you know, I want someone in my life who is
Gonna be like that, yeah.
is going to be like my dad.
Yeah.
Just the way how he treated women. And that included his mother-in-law and his own mother and his daughters and his daughter-in-law, everybody. The way he, you know, treats them, and, you know, the way he keeps them is just, it's just wow.
Yeah.
And men of today's age really need to learn.
Yeah, they really need to learn.
really
I
need
think,
to learn
again, the whole like Pakistani dads being so supportive of their daughters and their wives and things, I think it comes down to Islam at the end of the day.
Yes.
If you properly educate yourself on Islam, you'll realize, and I feel like it's inevitable, you're gonna be a feminist. Feminist doesn't mean that you think women are better than men.
Yes.
It just means you think they're equal, you know?
Yes.
The other day I was actually annoying my brother, and I was like listen, look, you know, everything that men can do, women can do, but things that women can do, men can't do, so we're better. Obviously I was joking, but just
This
to
is a
annoy
younger
him.
brother, right?
It's my younger
Of course.
brother. To annoy him, and I was joking like that, but like, on a serious note, let's face it, it's true though.
It is.
It really is true. And
I think
yeah,
the modern day feminism is very twisted.
yeah, it is.
It
yeah.
is very twisted.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is. It's heavily impacted by the Western values and Western culture, and our people have gotten really confused with what feminism
Yeah.
actually is.
Yeah.
And it's just very twisted, you know. So every time I tell somebody, "Oh, I'm a feminist," I have to explain myself what kind of a feminist I am.
Yeah, you're not a crazy lady that thinks, you know, all men should not exist in the world.
No,
it
not at all.
just being a feminist just means like you think women have rights just as much as men do, and the Quran Islam promotes that. So again, like, you know, it all comes down to educating yourself. I personally feel like Islamically, it just helps you so much in your daily life and
Absolutely.
as a person and everything as well.
Indeed.
It's really, really hard. But we're coming to the end of our show, actually. Is there anything you guys want to add?
No, it was really nice
Yeah.
having this talk.
Yeah.
And
Likewise.
yeah.
And thank you so much for coming down, Iqra and Tanha.
thank you for having us.
You both look so beautiful and bubbly, even though you're fasting. You wouldn't think that you're fasting.
She's
Well,
constantly
okay, I'm
smiling. I look at her and I'm like,
Mashallah, mashallah. No, it's really, really lovely to have you guys down. For our listeners, tune in so Cafe Nisa is going to be live every single Sunday during the month of Ramadan between 4 and 6 p.m. We've got a whole load of stuff for you, talking about women's issues and what it means to be a British Muslim woman especially. So don't forget to tune in. Again, we're always live on Facebook, YouTube, Mixler, and TuneIn. And if you missed our show, you can always catch it on Facebook and rewatch it. But I hope you really, really enjoyed today's segment with our beautiful guests. Don't forget to tune in next Sunday between 4 and 6. And I hope you're enjoying your Ramadan. And, you know, it's nearly time for iftar as well, so I bet everyone's happy about that. But we're in the evening.
2.5 hours.
We're in the evening. But no, yeah, inshallah, see you next Sunday. That's Allah Hafiz from us.